Brett, what do you say after that one?
Pretty much what I told the boys just said, and that we certainly need to stay very united. It's a really difficult time for the club at the moment. We gave 8 penalties and 12 errors. We gave them 20 sets with some of our own bad stuff. We had just under 40% of the ball. So, as I said to the men, I thought we tried reasonably hard, but trying in this competition sometimes doesn't allow you to be good enough. Everyone tries, so it's about trying to get that weighted possession, if we can, back to 50-50. It was something we sort of tried to speak about that hurt us last week. Manly had a big flow of ball, wore us out, and then the points come on the back of that. So, we didn't concede a try through structure or their good stuff. We conceded tries. The 6 tries were through the weighted possession, some quick play the balls, and in the end you just scramble and you get found out a little bit. So, as I said, we need to be a really good side. We need to be a tough side. We need to learn how to be a really tough defensive team. And we're in a pretty difficult time. So,
you said it's a difficult time, but how low is, I guess, the morale around the place at the moment, just with everything that's been going on the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, mate, they train great. I'll give the boys a rap. They train really well. They turn up. They like each other's company. They moved on very professionally last week. Again this week, I thought we prepared really well. Trying your best and having a crack gets you sort of into the competition, but then you need to be able to add more to that and do it for better and longer than the opposition in some regards. So we've got plenty of things to work on, obviously. Defensive points come on the back of weighted possession and getting your end, so we've got to be a good defensive team. I think that's basically the breakdown and the starting point, which obviously everyone tries to do that, but we've just got to get better at doing that.
The Bulldogs something as a model, because you go back 5 weeks, 6 weeks, they were in the same position where getting beat off teams who were also down, looking pretty bad, but now they look on top of the world. They've had a real change of almost like mentality, and just they look a lot happier. Is that something you can look at and go, it's not that difficult to turn this around?
Really? You watched NRL lots of times to realise it's not that difficult to turn this around?
No, I mean in terms of the mentality and saying, look, it looks bad now, but it could in a month it could look completely different.
Yeah, I think that's what we know. We are in a difficult period. We've always got to look for doing the hard work, doing the extras, doing what we need to do, improving a little bit, gets us in the opportunity to win. Obviously, their victory last week gives them an enormous amount of confidence. They play good. You come off the back fence, you're a bit stronger, you're a bit more skillful, you run the ball a bit harder, you tackle a bit harder. So, and that's affecting my job moving forward as well. You've got to try and instill some confidence and make these players believe in what we're doing, make them believe that they're good players. They're playing first grade football. They're good footy players. It's just a matter of how do we get the best out of them at a consistent level. And when it gets a bit tough, how do we defend 2 sets, and then when we get the ball back, get it back to a 50-50 share after that. So, it's obviously, I like your optimism. I like the fact that, it can turn very quickly. I think, you can, think about, if you do one good thing as a footy player, your confidence returns straight away. We're like goldfish. We forget about all the bad things and the errors we've done pretty quickly and move straight on to the good times. So that's the position they're in. I mentioned yesterday at our press conference at the club, Mick Potter's doing a really good job at the club. As you said, he's taken over in a difficult situation. They've got him buying into it. They've got some big, powerful forwards and physical men that like being brutal. So they're playing on the back of that.
What's the biggest priority for you now, Brett? Like, what's the first thing you do over the next 2 weeks? How do you attack, I suppose, the week off and then after that?
Plans for whatever we've done as a club or agreed to do as a club have been set in place. They'll stay in place. That won't change because of the scoreline today. We need to unite. You need to make sure, as you said, we get some happiness back to them. We get a bit of a smile on their face. We're ready to work really hard. There'll be some things we'll look at of how we need to do it moving forward. I would think, and talk to both assistants, but we need to be able to get the ball 50-50, but also we need to be able to be, this is where it'll be the challenge of becoming a really tough side. And tough doesn't mean just brutal and all those things. Tough just means in a difficult time, hanging in the fight together, defend 2 sets, defend 3 sets, like the challenge that you're under, like the adversity we're going through at the moment. I said last week, and I'll say it again this week, this club will be in a better position long term from working out who are the good people to be in this club. Who are the tough ones that can handle being good first grade players and who wants to be committed to this club going forward. It mightn't be nice next time we play. There might be other games this year where it's ugly and we get put on the scoreboard like we have today. But I'm realist also knowing that it'll take time for this to get better, not it gets better in 3 days.
Jimmy, can you explain how the playing group is feeling?
Yeah, obviously pretty gutted. It was, Noddy said it, we trained well. You train to build confidence, and I felt that's what we did this week. And there was a lot of motion going into this game, obviously. But, a lot of that motion didn't really go into the execution of the game. I think Noddy sort of touched on it. You can almost do too much. You're trying to, I think the errors or penalty count obviously weighed against us. So all that emotion just has to go into execution. You can, like I said, you can almost do too much. There's a study called the inverted U theory where, all that emotion and you're prepped up for a game, but it means nothing. You go out of the game, you're trying to do too much. So I think that's where us as leaders have just got to take it back to how we've trained all week. Get the confidence from that, take it into a game. We don't need to overdo it, don't need to overstep it. Yeah.
Guys, especially Alex.
I'll get assessed by the guys when we get back in there. If that's, I've got no idea, to be honest. Alex seemed okay. We got all the players listed around. 2 boys have got ice on their ankles and foot. But I'll get a proper update when I go back in there, if that's all right.
How was the play with Adam Dewey? Do you happy with what you got out of him for 20, 25 minutes late in the game there?
Yeah, I thought Adam looked good. Obviously, I didn't expect a heap from him first game back from second knee reconstruction. He hadn't played since the end of last year, and he's been in and around the group for a couple of weeks now doing full training, but training the game is way different pace. He got through, he's fine, which is a nice thing. I actually asked him how does he feel, and he feels good. So there's a positive. We'll take that. But it was great. Great to have Adam back. We get Stefano back potentially after the Origin as well. So the more of our, not regular first graders, but the more of the senior guys, the players love Adam being in the team. I think it gives us a bit of confidence. It leads a bit of belief. You got better players in the field or good players in the field. So Stefano will help that a little bit. The fact that we don't play next weekend, hopefully that'll help Twiley a little bit with the HIA. So.
Do you think there might be, obviously, turning mentality around is kind of what I was talking about before, but in terms of the tactical turnaround, having Adam in there now, you're actually going to be able to play sort of your first choice 4 Spartan players at once. Is that something that you're going to have to look at over the next 2 weeks, get them running together and see what you can do with that?
I want to work on defence. We need to stop leaking points. We need to make sure that we can get in a fight. We need to get the ball 50-50 share. What we do after that when we get the ball in attack, I think in their end of the field, we looked like we were okay. We know what we're doing in good ball. The competition's about going us and them. Let's go set for set and let's get ourselves in a competition. Let's see how we go with that. So that'll be the cycle we'll be driving, stay resilient, get the ball 50-50. If you have to do 2 defensive efforts, are we physically good enough to be able to do it for 2 efforts? And then we get the ball and see how we can move and help each other out. So,
Noddy, it looked like Adam come on in the halves and Jackson moved to lock. Is that the plan? Is that how you plan for it to unfold long term, do you think?
No. Today was a little bit about Adam was always going to play centre. I thought he'd play 20 to 25 minutes. I have no need to rush at him. His long-term plan at the club is more important to me than short-term stuff. He ended up playing half, you're right. Jacko played the middle for a period of time. It was a little bit about chase points a little bit and try and get all the players on the field at the same time.
Brett, is there any sense that Alex might need more than just a week with a concussion, given he only just came back from a concussion about a month ago?
I will let our doctors and our medical people, who are a lot cleverer than me, inform me of that, and I'll make whatever decisions I need to know whenever they advise me on the back of it. So they're the clever ones. Thanks, guys.